Rubio leads Cruz by 2 points in Nevada, but Ted Cruz insists he's the only one in the race with a shot at beating Trump. Cruz's chief strategist, Jason Johnson, put out this memo to supporters Monday night. He writes, Trump can't be beaten from the political left with a candidate who emphatically supports amnesty. And Cruz is the only candidate that has beaten and can beat Trump. Zeke Miller is a political reporter for Time magazine. He's in Las Vegas. Zeke, let's start with this memo from the Cruz campaign. How does Marco Rubio rebut Ted Cruz's arguments about this race?
You know, the answer that Rubio's campaign offers is in that memo itself. Right now, Ted Cruz is arguing that he's going to unify conservatives. He says that at every chance he gets, that is his message, that he can unify all the disparate wings of the Republican Party, the conservative movement. And in fact, if you look at exit polling in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, that's not true yet. Donald Trump beat him among conservatives and conservatives and more conservative voters in South Carolina and in New Hampshire. That's a problem for him. The only place where Ted Cruz won was in Iowa, where he won that narrow victory. So the challenge for Ted Cruz is, and what Rubio's campaign would say, is you're not actually unifying conservatives, and that's what you're saying you're going to do. So as long as you're not actually doing that, then your path to the nomination is a little more treacherous than they're making it out to be.
Yeah, and there's this interesting development. As we've been reporting, Cruz asked his communications director, Rick Tyler, to resign Monday. Trump and Rubio have often been using the word liar to describe Ted Cruz in his campaign. Is this firing a sign that Cruz is worried that accusation could stick?
You know, absolutely. In the final days of the South Carolina campaign, this was a huge problem for them that they didn't really respond to. They were, every day he would get out and level a new attack against one of his rivals. They'd come back and accuse him of treachery, of lying, of deceit. And that took its toll. That's why that margin in South Carolina was so tight. It's why he placed in third in one of the most conservative states in the country. So that's a problem for Ted Cruz. And, for Rick Tyler, unfortunately for him, it seems to be a case of, being the straw that broke the camel's back. It seems that he's kind of being scapegoated now for all of the things that have been blamed on the Cruz campaign, and he's just coming down on him just because of timing.
Donald Trump has a wide lead among likely Nevada caucus goers, 26 points. Is there anything at all that can stop Donald Trump at this point?
Here, obviously, polling is really hard because of the low turnout in the state. Of the state's 400,000 Republicans, only 10 or 15% of them are expected to show up. So that makes public polling a little iffy. That said, Donald Trump does seem to be the clear favorite here. And certainly looking at the Super Tuesday states, the March 15 states, he has a really clear shot. Republican operatives tell me, they really don't know what to do. Nothing has worked so far. The negative ads, do you attack them on policy? Do you attack them on personality? They don't really. Nothing has worked yet, and that's the problem right now. For the Republican Party with respect to Donald Trump.
Zeke, you wrote this weekend that the GOP race after South Carolina has 3 distinct paths forward. Break those down for us.
Yeah, so the first one would be the one offered by Donald Trump, which is people are frustrated with the Republican Party, frustrated with the state of politics, frustrated with Washington, D.C. They essentially want to blow it up, take somebody in who doesn't agree with them on a lot of ideological issues, core first principles of the conservative movement. And Donald Trump doesn't represent those, but he speaks to their anger and frustration. So that's one. The second would be Ted Cruz, which is double down on what the traditional Republican Party base, older, whiter voters, sort of not, where he is on immigration, being a little bit more extreme on those issues. That's the path that Ted Cruz offers. Then you have Marco Rubio, who's offering this diversity, sort of this play towards growing the party, expanding the reach of the Republican Party to new communities. And that's, for him here in Nevada, the message he's been emphasizing the last couple of days has been that he could expand the party, that the Republican Party is a party for everyone. We saw that argument from him here last night. That's really a general election argument, less so than a Republican primary one, and that's why this will be a key test for him. If that message sells in Nevada, that could sort of speak well for him going into March 1st. If it doesn't, then he might have a problem on his hands as well.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how that plays out. All right, Zeke Miller in Las Vegas for us. Zeke, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.